Welcome to BNEWS Weekly. I'm Phil Gallagher, along with BNEWS reporters Greg Walsh, Tad Stefanak, Robert Paris, Elizabeth Fuller, and student reporter Evan McNamee. Peter Brown with the weather, Gretchen Carey with the community calendar, and Anthony Matos with sports. Thank you for joining us. The man-made PFAS chemical has been used in consumer products for decades, including non-stick cookware, water-repellent clothing, cosmetics, and many other products. Burlington is installing 6 PFAS filters to reduce the current levels in the town water supply. Tad Stefanak and Elizabeth Fuller went to Mill Pond and filed this report.
The forever chemical known as PFAS has been found in water supplies across the country. PFAS was found in Burlington's water supply, higher than the newly instituted acceptable levels of the Department of Environmental Protection for Massachusetts, resulting in PFAS filters being installed at the Mill Pond Water Treatment Facility.
Unfortunately, we were caught by surprise, as were many other communities when we tested, and that was in 2021. Once that we knew we had a problem with the levels of PFAS, particularly at this treatment plant, because we want to maintain this as our water source for Burlington, we acted immediately. We didn't waste any time. We actually went to town meeting, I believe it was September of 2021, to get funds to get this project going. And the idea of the project is to filter the water to eliminate the PFAS issue for Burlington. Don't forget, everybody had the same problem. We knew that many other towns were going to be looking for filters similar to the ones that we had here. So as we evolved with the project, again, remember, it's September of 2021. That's only about a year ago. We said, what can we do to expedite the project? What can we do to get the parts that we need for the project in time here to have it running as soon as possible? Came up with the idea that if we separated the project into several projects, one of them was pipe work, another one was by pumps, another one was to buy the actual filters that you see behind me. If we did that separately, we can have different contractors working at the same time. And then later on, when we get our general contractors to actually build the building, everything else will be being constructed at the same time. And that worked out really well. Right now, at the rate we see and the planning we have going, we think that by February of 2023, we'll have the filters operational. That doesn't mean that the building is going to be completed, but water will be going through the filter, which is the important thing to all of us who drink the water here. We want water to have no PFAS level. The entire project will be completed by late spring of 2023. Now, if you can see behind me and you see the 6 filters that we have here, they are already set in the final resting place, I want to call it. But you see there's a space here on this side. And the reason we left the space is we don't know what other chemicals eventually in the future will be regulated by whether it's the DPE or the EPA. So we wanted to leave room to additional filters if we needed them in the future.
BNews asked about the PFAS filters and the new MWRA connection.
The MWRA connection is actually the other part of town. The water does commingle. It goes into the same distribution system. The water chemistries are very similar, so people may notice or may not notice a difference in taste, but they're very similar water. They're both surface water. They both have about the same pH levels, the same chloramines, which we use for secondary treatment. So it'll be very compatible.
From the Mill Pond Reservoir and Water Treatment Facility, this is BNews.
It's important to remember that the state reduced the allowable levels down to 30 parts per trillion of PFAS. Burlington Police and Burlington Public Schools worked together in their response Tuesday to an incident in which a student brought a knife into school. On Tuesday, November 1, at approximately 8:50 a.m., staff at the Marshall Simons Middle School and School Resource Officer Vito Costa learned that a student located a kitchen paring knife on the grounds of the school. That student immediately notified an instructor, and an assistant principal immediately took custody of the knife. A subsequent investigation determined the identity of a middle school student, but charges were not filed due to the pupil's age. The student will face discipline in accordance with the Burlington Public Schools policies and code of conduct. Since the resignation of Burlington Public Schools Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion Director in September, students of color say they have lost a support system. Students who showed up at the October 25 school committee agreed and asked that the position be filled sooner than later.
I was hopeful for the future of our district. I was hopeful that we would finally see the change we've been asking for years. I was hopeful that we would create a system in which every student feels safe to express their true identity.
I'm coming here tonight to talk to you guys and ask you to please post the DI position again. We need this. In your mission statement, you say, Burlington High School's mission statement is to develop lifelong learners and engage community members who think creatively and critically and who respect human differences in an increasingly diverse society. So I'm asking you to stand by your mission statement. Cut the performative activism and actually do something for us. Make your students of color feel like they're important here.
The lack of responsibility when it comes to this department proves to me how words such as learning, equity, and thriving are empty words when the only DI disappears after 1 year. I know this type of work is hard and uncomfortable, but being uncomfortable and having open discussions is what leads to change, so please post a DEI position.
They say that this school is supposed to be diverse and everyone should welcome diversity and equality, but none of that is ever done. Even like our mission statement and what was said in the beginning of this committee meeting, most of that, if not all of that, applies to only the white students in this school.
Superintendent Eric Conti said he appreciated their positions, but that time is needed for himself and staff to reflect on the past year's successes and challenges.
I am also wanting to support conditions within the district that increase the likelihood of success and longevity for new hires who come here to be change makers.
Meanwhile, Superintendent Conti says he believes that student clubs that have been meeting are ongoing, and if a DEI group wishes to meet at the high school, he would like to reach out to find out who would be coordinating that. I wouldn't have a problem with anything continuing, Conti said. Students from the Burlington High School Help Desk participated in the New England chapter of the Association of Unmanned Vehicle Systems International Drone Conference, it's a mouthful, at Northeastern University's Innovation Campus in Burlington. Tad Stefanak was there and files this report.
Burlington Public Schools are becoming a part of Burlington's innovation and technology. At the New England chapter of the Association of Unmanned Vehicle Systems International Drone Conference, held recently at the Northeastern University campus here in Burlington.
We're blessed by our location at Burlington in that we're on the Northeastern campus in Burlington and we're in their new building, number 5, and there's a industry event that is looking at unmanned flying or drones. It's a drone conference, and we have had the opportunity to have some students attend and present their working with drones. Fantastic Burlington High School teacher, Leroy Wong, is here with some students, and Shireen Terrell, our computer science teacher, is here as well. So great connection between our students and industry.
We do have a wide variety of drones here, from smaller to medium-sized, I guess, and they're definitely very useful at BHS.
Recently, we've just been kind of like learning how drones work, how they fly, learning how to fly them, but we've also dabbled with the AI that goes into it and how it can use facial recognition, gesture recognition, as well as the implications of the drones. Obviously, the most recent is the Ukraine conflict, and drones have played a major role in all of that.
We're talking about how drones can be used for military warfare and how they save lives.
They get to see the application of what they're learning. Things are changing so quickly in the private sector. Jobs are evolving. It's hard to identify a career that isn't around yet. So I think the kids are just seeing that.
We're talking about varieties of drones and how purposeful they can be used, such as in the military or just for flight patterns and for various purpose reasons.
We're sort of being introduced to the drones, and I guess that's really important because it's still a very new technology, and not a lot of industries that could be using it are using it. We're at the cutting edge here, and I think it's really interesting because drones are really like the future, and so being at this conference is really important because this is where all of these collaborations, all of these connections are happening.
I've definitely looked at a lot of new startups, established companies, and government entities that work to help with keeping everybody safe, saving people, and things like that. Greensight over there, they're a new startup. You can send a bunch of them out in a disaster scenario to scope out the area, which would be really useful if you're trying to save people.
Some things I picked up around here is how you can use a computer to navigate your airplane. Let's say that if you're a pilot and there's some things that you couldn't do as a pilot, you can type into the computer and it'll do it for you. If you have a mic on the airplane and you speak into it, say take off or land, it'll land and take off for you by yourself, so you don't have to do anything.
And again, this is how adults learn. So it's a great opportunity for our kids just to see that, to be engaged, to have a future orientation, which I think is really helpful for high school students.
From the New England chapter of the Association of Unmanned Vehicle Systems International Drone Conference, I'm BNEWS reporter Tad Stefanak.
If you're following events in the Ukraine, you know that the drone wars are already upon us. Burlington businesses Northridge Companies, Veracode, and First Light Power are among the 2022 top 100 women-led businesses in Massachusetts. The Women's Edge, together with the Boston Globe magazine, celebrate the state's leading companies and nonprofits run by women. The annual list and awards program highlights women business leaders who make significant impact on the state's economy. The women included President Wendy Nowakowski of Northridge, CEO Sam King of Veracode, and CEO Alicia Barton of First Light Power. Local nonprofit Saheli held its annual 5K walk recently to raise awareness and prevention of domestic violence against women and families. Representatives of Saheli spoke to BNEWS on the event and the importance of their mission.
There was a great turnout on the town commons on Saturday, October 22nd, as members of the community came together to support South Asian and Arab women and families to lead safe lives as they walk from the common to Burlington High School and around. Saheli's co-executive director, Renu Devari, talks about the work they put in to coordinate a 5K walk.
First, we have to get the place here from the town hall, and then sending emails and asking people to register. It's a lot of work behind, and asking police officers to be along to go walk with us. So it's a lot of work there.
Saheli President Neelan Wali explains the importance of learning about domestic violence and how it affects those who suffer from it.
Domestic abuse is one of the major causes of family issues, in this country. Every second there are women who are being abused. And the message that Saheli is trying to give is that we need to help these families to survive. It's not only the women, it's the children. Men also get abused. So we need to make sure that we educate people, whether it's education or whether it is legal help, housing help. Saheli does all that things for everybody.
And here's how you can become a member of Saheli.
You can just reach out to us and tell us which place you want to be working in. There are many other places one can volunteer, like getting awareness, talking about like Saheli to others, or writing articles and making awareness what we stand for. We do intervention, but prevention is the more important one. So we want youngsters to come up and do something prevention program with us.
This is Arushi Daima reporting for BNews Weekly.
Thanks to Arushi Daima for that report. Select Board member Mike Runyon stopped by Sunrise of Burlington recently to deliver a proclamation to Rose Stark, who last month celebrated turning 100 years old. Born October 7, 1922, she was raised on a large farm in Newbury, New Hampshire. Her parents were Italian immigrants from southern Italy. Rose had 5 younger brothers who all helped work on the farm, and most of whom served in the U.S. military. Rose attended Keene State College and became an elementary school teacher before she met her husband and moved to New York City. She taught 2nd grade until she had her 2 daughters. Rose is blessed with good health, a great sense of humor, and being independent. Good Italian stock, raised on a New Hampshire farm. That must be the secret. The Burlington Players are getting into the holiday spirit with their upcoming production of Miss Bennet, Christmas at Pemberley. BCAT sports and feature reporter Robert Parris spoke with some of the cast and crew during a rehearsal at the Park Playhouse.
It's hard to believe it has been nearly 2 years since we have seen each other.
Merry Christmas, or should I say Happy Christmas. This holiday season, the Burlington Players are back to present their upcoming production of Miss Bennet, Christmas at Pemberley.
It is a sequel of sorts to Pride and Prejudice by Jane Austen. It envisions life 2 years after Elizabeth and Darcy are married. It's Christmas at her house, and it's sort of the story of the middle sister, Mary, and how she comes to womanhood and meets somebody and falls in love. It's a very sweet romance.
There are a variety of young actresses and actors we spoke with during the rehearsal.
I play Lydia Wickham, who is the youngest and silliest and squeakiest Bennet sister. She is back here for Christmas, and she's hiding a little bit of sadness, but always wants to have a really fun time. Very tenacious and excitable and persistent. So it's been an absolute joy to play.
I think that this is her opportunity to be the main character. In the original Pride and Prejudice, I mean, if you've seen the movies, depending on which version you've seen, Mary plays a smaller part, and she doesn't really get much of like a storyline, other than kind of being the middle sister. So I think in this show, she gets to be really independent and clever and funny and fierce. And I think her through line, which I think is really universal for anybody, is that, you know, it's about the courage to be who you are and to make choices that really empower and reflect what you want, and to have the courage to go out and do what you want.
Well, Mr. Darcy, he's typically quite rigid and always has opinions on how things should be, but I think that he's started to let go a little bit since being married to Elizabeth. That's kind of opened him up to the rest of the world maybe a little bit more, and we should be able to see some of that during this play.
I am playing Mr. Arthur de Burgh, who is a rather bookish young man who has, been invited to stay with the Darcys for Christmas, and he heads there straight from Oxford, where he spends pretty much all of his time, and he is more or less out of his element. When he arrives at the Darcy homestead, the first person that he meets is Miss Mary Bennet.
Miss Bennet, Christmas at Pemberley is playing through November 19th. You can get your tickets at burlingtonplayers.com. From the Park Playhouse, I'm Robert Paris for BNEWS Weekly.
Is summer going to make a comeback this weekend? It's time to check in with BNews meteorologist Peter Brown, followed as always by the community calendar with Gretchen Carey.
Well, hello everyone, this is Peter Brown with your weather for the next 7 days. Here we are heading in towards the first full week of November. I know it's hard to believe that we are actually more than 2/3 of the way done with meteorological fall. I know that's hard to believe how fast the times are going by. But we have some beautiful weather coming up for you for this first full week of November. It is going to be feeling anything but like November around here in the Burlington area. In fact, it's going to feel more like mid-September, so the end of summer out there. As we start our period on Friday, we should be seeing temperatures at this time of the year only in the mid-50s, and we're going to be probably 15 degrees warmer than that. I wouldn't be surprised if we get close to or break our record high of 69 that was set a few years back there. I wouldn't be surprised if our highs reach 70 on Friday. Now, getting into the weekend, that warming trend is going to continue. We may see highs nudging up into the mid to upper 70s. Dare I say, could we even see a high temperature near 80 on Sunday? Be very close, but I wouldn't be very surprised. Now, as we round out our period getting in towards the end of next week, again, this time of the year, our temperatures should continue to be cooling down to the lower and mid-50s. And again, looks like we're going to end out our period almost 10 to 15 degrees above average, with temperatures by next Thursday in the upper 60s to near 70 again. The only thing that we know that tells us that we're getting closer to winter is the length of day. Now, very important, everyone. Before you go to bed Saturday night into Sunday morning, remember to turn your clocks back an hour, as daylight savings time is coming to an end. So once we get into Sunday, that sun is going to be setting around 4:30 p.m. again. So as we go ahead, let's take a look what the Climate Prediction Center is calling for us in terms of temperatures and precipitation here in the Burlington area over the next 7 to 10 days. And looking at our temperature map, it is going to be warmer than average out there, almost a 100% certainty chance of that happening. That's definitely what I'm seeing in the forecast, and that's pretty much going to be true for most of the eastern half of the U.S. If you want the really cold weather and the snow, you're going to have to go out towards the Rockies and out towards the West Coast. And looking at our precipitation chances, this map I'm a little bit surprised about. I actually think we're going to be seeing below average precipitation here in the Burlington areas. We're going to have that warm, dry weather with very few chances of rain. Maybe a couple of spot showers Saturday and Sunday, but it doesn't look like there's really going to be much holding together. So as we go ahead, let's take a look at those 7 days of weather coming up. Now, this is definitely a forecast for those of us who enjoy the warm weather. This is what November should be like for us, or how we really like it around here. Temperatures, pretty much what you see is what you get. You're going to be starting out our weekend on Friday in the upper 60s, getting up into the mid to upper 70s again. Wouldn't be surprised if around the Burlington area we see some areas touch maybe close to 80 on Sunday. We cool down a little bit as we get in towards Tuesday, as we have a bit of a backdoor cold front coming in. But then after that, looks like a warm front's going to return. The temperatures are going to ramp back up, and temperatures are going to be back up into the mid to upper 60s as we round out the period. So everyone, get out there, enjoy the weather, and have a great week.
Hey everyone, I'm Gretchen Carey, and this is your Community Calendar. On November 8th from 2 to 3:30 p.m., the Burlington Public Library will be having a family movie. No registration is required. For more information, call 781-270-1692. On November 11th at 10 a.m., Burlington Veteran Services will be having the annual Veterans Day ceremony on the Burlington Town Common. The event is rain or shine, and everyone is welcome. Also on November 11th from 7 to 9 p.m., the Made in Burlington store will be having a turkey string art class. To register and for more information, go to the following website. I'm Gretchen Carey, and that was your Community Calendar.
Turning now to sports anchor Anthony Matos has the fall season wrap-up and a look at the all-important second season, the playoffs. Let's have a look.
Hey everyone, I'm Anthony Matos, and this is your weekly sports report. The regular season has come to a close here at BHS, and we've officially made it to the postseason. The Burlington Red Devils will have a non-playoff game on Friday, November 4th at Varsity Field against Medford. As this taping, the game is still to be played. Lady Devils volleyball had a shutout win of 3-0 over the Wilmington Wildcats on October 28th. Burlington will play in the round of 32 of the MIA playoff tournament on November 3rd as they host Milton. We'll have an update on how they did in next week's sports report. The Red Devil cross-country teams competed in the Middlesex League meet at Woburn Country Club on Halloween. In the girls' 5K, sophomores Ashley Dean Martinez came in 33rd place at 21 minutes 20 seconds, and Althena Walensky came in 37th place at 21:42. You can check the full list of results at the following website. BNEWS sports reporter Robert Paris spoke with Matt Carr, Eric Sakaya, Rithik Prakash on their results and the league meet. Here he is.
It was an outstanding year for Red Devil cross country as they finished the regular season undefeated and were named the Middlesex League Freedom Division champions for the first time.
We had Melrose close out our season. We knew we had to beat them to be league champions, and kids actually ran very well in that meet.
In addition, senior Rithik Prakash surpassed his older brother's Rishabh's course record at 15 minutes and 12 seconds. Rishabh's record was 15:31.
I know Rithik was eyeing the record, which was his brother's, and talked about how he wanted to go out, what speed, what pace he wanted to go out at, and did everything that he had as his goal and blew the record out of the water, which was pretty surprising.
I had known his record was there since my freshman year, been on this course for 4 years, so definitely meant a lot to get it, and just had a really good day that day.
In the Middlesex League meet, senior Eric Sakaya finished in first place at 15 minutes and 28 seconds. He was also named the Middlesex League Freedom MVP, and the team was named the 2022 Middlesex League 12 Conference Champions.
It was a fun meet. The race strat was to go out with Thick to start, and he kind of set the pace. He did a great job setting us apart the first 2 miles, and then the third mile just kind of took off.
From Burlington High School, I'm Robert Paris for BNEWS Sports.
A conjoined Burlington and Woburn swim team competed in the Middlesex League meet on October 27th at Bentley University. As this taping, the results have not been reported. Burlington will compete at Worcester Polytechnic Institute on November 6th for the sectionals meet. We wish them luck. The Red Devils soccer team finished out the regular season last week. The girls headed to Linfield on October 29th, while the boys hosted Waltham on the 28th. The ladies lost their game 2-1 over the Pioneers, while the boys won their game 2-1. With the winning goal by junior Eunice Hanish. We have a clip of it, so let's take a look. The boys' season came to an end with a 2-13-3 record, and 14 seniors will be departing in the offseason. As for the girls, they finished the regular season at 5-9-4 and clinched an MIAA Division II playoff spot in the preliminary round against Dartmouth. We'll have highlights of that game next week. Catch more Red Devil action on our website at bcattv.org/sports and check out our Twitter page at BNEWS Sports. That's all for this week. I'm Anthony Matos. Back to you guys in the studio.
A spooktacular time was held by all as the Burlington Parks and Rec Department put on its annual Spooktacular Halloween event at Simons Park, complete with the traditional candy crane drop, the spooky walk, monster-sized inflatables, and more. Let's take a look.
I'm Evan McNamee from Burlington Cable Access Television, aka BCAT, here at the Burlington Rec Department's Spooktacular. Behind me is the candy crane drop, where some kids can run around and grab some candy that's been dropped by a crane. I'll be back with more interviews coming right up. Today I have
Brendan Egan.
So Brendan, what are you doing today at the Spooktacular?
Well, they put me in charge of loading the candy into the giant bulk bag and then preparing the Superman to bring it out and deposit it onto the Little League field. And I want to thank East Coast Tree for bringing their crane.
So Pierce, what are you doing today?
I'm just handing out ballots for the spooky walk.
So what's on the spooky walk?
I'm actually not quite sure. There's different groups inside the spooky walk, as in like the Boy Scouts I heard might be doing it, and there's other groups as well. And they set up like elements of a haunted house inside, and whoever wins like the most votes, which is why I'm handing out, wins a sponsorship.
Very spooky indeed.
I'm Zach. Lucas. Alalin. Nick.
So what are you guys doing today?
We're selling chili at the Spooktacular along with hot chocolate, water, and chips.
Nice. I'm also a fellow scout.
That's fun.
So what are you guys using the money for yourselves?
We're supporting our troop, 511.
You guys can use the money for campouts and stuff?
Yes, this helps us do more things like this so we can support our town.
I'm here at the Spooktacular alongside
Max, Christos, Jonathan.
So what's your favorite part of today, guys?
Definitely the giant slide. Oh yeah, probably the slide. Yeah, the slide.
I'm here alongside
Parisa, Emily, Audrey, Natalie.
So what's your favorite part of today so far?
Coming here and having fun. Coming here and seeing all the fun activities that we can do. I'm Daddy Dot here.
Everything that's here seems pretty awesome.
Well, that's it for the Spooktacular. We'll catch you next time on BNEWS.
This segment is actually BNEWS Photos of the Week. You called to have BCAT showcase your spookiest memories of Halloween 2022, and we've answered. These photos showcase some haunted decorations in addition to boils and ghouls on the hunt for candy during the witching hour of trick-or-treating. Let's take a look at these wonderful photos. The first one is the Burlington Girl Scouts enjoying a haunted hike on the Sawmill Trail, submitted by Linda McNamee. Next is Melissa Massardo's Shy Kids with Micah Spayo's nieces at Trunk or Treat, submitted by Micah Spayo. Next is Fallon Woodbury, capturing this photo on Halloween night on Meadowvale Road. And it was Trick or Treat on Holly Street in Burlington. Dorothy, Tin Man, Lion, Scarecrow, Yellow Brick Road, Good Witch, Bad Witch, and the Wizard, submitted by Lauren Anderson. And finally, Gwyneth McNamee captured these young trick-or-treaters collecting candy at the Halloween Spooktacular. Thank you for all the photos and happy Halloween. And we have two reminders before we sign off. Okay, I'm at camera 3, thank you. Don't forget to turn your clock back. Sunday evening is, or is it Tuesday, November 8th? No. Well, don't forget to turn your clocks back. You'll catch up with that extra hour of sleep. That's it from the news desk here at BNews Weekly. I'm Phil Gallagher, along with Greg Walsh, Tad Stefanak, Robert Paris, Peter Brown, Arushi Daima, Evan McNamee, Gretchen Carey, and me. Thank you for joining us.